You already know what the title of the video is, so I'm not going to get into the introduction. I'm going to get straight into it. Now, a lot of the times we always talk about the rich and the poor, and many of us, what we fail to realize is that we don't understand, some of us, I should say, don't understand the games that these people are making strategically, which is why some of us are gonna fall behind and not know. And most of the time, it's because of lack of information. And lack of information is what keeps people further behind. Some of us, not all of us, some of us. Now, a lot of the times, we always like to say, oh, the rich is getting richer and the poor is getting poorer. Yes, nothing can be further from the truth. But you know what they're not telling you? Is that they are little things that they do to get to that position that some of us will never know. Now, for instance, so say for an example, I have a child. I have no children, by the way. Say for instance, I have a child and I've reached the top where I'm now in a wealthy position to the point where I can network with certain people. I bring my child inside and I say to him, hey, I say to my son, hey, I want you to speak to so-and-so. Or I bring my daughter in, hey, I want you to speak to so-and-so's son. Or I want you to speak to so-and-so's daughter. You see? Now, what have I done here? I have now introduced my child. I have now given my child access that some of these people do not have access to. And many of the times we may sit down and talk about racism this, racism that, racism this, racism that, which of course it's there. But you know what they're not telling you is the class. Everything is about class in this system. Working class, middle class, upper class, upper class. This is a class system we're living in. And that's what many people don't get. Me, I'm from London, England. So I know blatantly that this is the situation that most of us face. And a lot of the times is like we say, oh, these children, they don't have no worries. We look at all of these gentrified areas, especially in London, from where I'm from. We talk about, oh, look at these people. Look at these young people. They don't have to, they're not struggling. They're just walking freely. Oh, they're just walking freely. But why are they walking freely? Because their parents have set them up for life. And here's how they set them up for life. Insurance is put in place. Health insurance is put in place. They teach them how to do taxes. They teach them how to set up a business. They teach them how to invest. Which is why a lot of the times wills are being passed through. Trusts are being passed through because of how the parents have put these things into place for them. They have pretty much put them into rooms that some of us, like you and I, cannot go into. They're set up for life. This is the game that they are playing. This is the game that the wealthiest people in the world are playing. Which is why they're able to buy these properties all over London from these working class areas like Peckham, Brixton, Camberwell, like even places like Bermondsey, from that place where I grew up. Even that too is under redevelopment right now as I speak. Why? Because they know the game. They have the information. They have access to information. They pass the information down to the children, which is why 3 to 4 generations of their own children will never suffer. That is the reality that many of us, or some of us I should say, don't get. Now, I'm not saying this in a way to belittle people or to say this about this person or to say that about that person, but I just want you to understand how these people are getting to these positions so that we can have an understanding of how they are doing it. Another thing, what made me realize this was, there was one time, like just down the road from where I live, there used to be this bakery shop, and the guy who owned it, he was a property developer. So he owned it for quite a long time, and it was a good bakery shop, don't get me wrong. I used to buy from there myself. I liked the place. Now it's turned into a like bourgeoisie cafe. So he sold it. Once he sold it, like people, I heard people saying to me that, oh yeah, like, you know, it's like, oh, we don't have this anymore, we don't have that anymore, you know, we're under new management, da 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 da. I was like, oh, okay. Come to find out, I heard through the grapevine that using that place for tax break. You see the game that they're playing? You see the game that they're playing? This is the game that they are playing. Which is why the wealthy will continue to remain wealthy. But let me know your thoughts. Comment down below and give me your honest opinion about this subject. Let's bounce ideas from each other. That way we can learn from each other and grow. But other than that, I'm out. Peace.